Hey, hi, how's it going? If you've been here before and you're back for more, I appreciate you to my very core. But if you're new here, welcome. My name is Becca and I tell your own personal paranormal experiences through short stories. If you have a personal paranormal experience that you'd like me to share and be featured on this channel, make sure to message me on Instagram. The link is in the bio. Without further ado, boo, here is today's story. In 2018, Ashley and her daughter went to a Halloween festival in Granbury, Texas. The whole festival was a Halloween-themed festival, so there was pumpkins everywhere, there was carnival games, cotton candy. It was just a really cool festival for anybody to come who enjoyed Halloween. While they were there, Ashley and her daughter stumbled across a psychic reading tent. Very curious as to what this psychic would have to say, they walked inside. After paying for the psychic reading charge, they sat down at a table with the psychic. The psychic would go on to tell her that Ashley was actually very in tune with the paranormal as she could see things that others couldn't. She would also go on to say that Ashley's son Ethan was actually an extremely powerful medium. Ashley was in absolute shock. You see, Ashley could see things that other people couldn't, but it was something that she kept to herself her entire life. Ashley would be sitting on her front porch and she would be seeing two boys dressed in World War I attire playing in her front yard. When the boys realized that she could see her, they vanished within thin air. So Ashley knew that she could see apparitions, but it was something that she kept as a deep, dark secret as she didn't want people thinking any differently of her. So although she was pretty shooken up at this psychic's reading, what really hit her was the fact that she had told her that her son Ethan was a very powerful medium. Ashley always wondered this, as there was one event that Ashley remembers distinctly. When Ethan was 4 years old, Ashley's mom sadly passed away. As Ashley was absolutely heartbroken at her loss, she was in her bedroom crying. Ethan had walked into her bedroom and asked her why she was crying. Ashley would then go on to explain that his grandma and her mom had passed away. Ethan, at 4 years old, walked over to his mom, placed his little hands on her cheeks, and reassured her that it's okay, she's playing cards with her dad. Ashley was comforted with this information, as she knew that her mom did indeed love playing cards with her dad. It was a memory that Ashley held close to her heart, but Ethan, who was 4 years old at the time, shouldn't have known of this memory. So after the psychic is explaining to Ashley that he's a very powerful medium, it all kind of made sense. So Ashley was extremely overwhelmed at the psychic's response, and instead of discussing everything that she had gone through and experienced with Ethan, she decided to end the session, and they got up from the table and left the tent. Ashley tried to continue to enjoy the festival, but couldn't get over the fact that she was completely overwhelmed with this psychic's reading, so they decided to actually leave the festival and go home. Once Ashley and her daughter got home, Ashley would go on to explain to Jeff, her husband, what they had just experienced at this Halloween festival. Now, Ashley had always been sort of open and honest to Jeff about her experiences, but Jeff was super skeptical of the paranormal, so she most of the time refrained from telling him everything that she experienced. So after explaining to Jeff what they had just experienced from this psychic reading, Jeff kind of just brushed it off as kind of, well, that's weird, but I guess it is what it is, and they carried on with their evening. Later that night, they were all sleeping, and everyone was woken up by a blood-curdling scream coming from Ethan's room. Ashley jumped out of bed and ran towards Ethan's room, where she found Ethan in the corner of his room in the fetal position, pointing at the adjacent wall. He was vibrating with fear and unable to speak. Ashley, knowing that she can see apparitions, was absolutely terrified at what she was going to see, so refused to even look. She quickly grabbed Ethan and comforted him until he was able to calm down and tell her what he had saw. He explained it as this tall figure that almost looked like a goat, and it had hooves as feet, and that whatever it was, he just didn't want it to come back. These night terrors would continue for 3 nights. Every night around the same time, Ethan would let out a blood-curdling scream, and Ashley would run into his room, and he would again be in the fetal position pointing at the adjacent wall. So on the 4th night, Ashley's laying in bed, and she's waiting for Ethan to experience his night terrors. And as she's laying there, waiting for Ethan to let out his scream as he had done the 3 nights previous, she feels something grab her. The grip was firm and powerful. Without any hesitation, she herself let out a scream. This woke up Jeff. The second Jeff wakes up, he sits up in bed and realizes that his wife is being pulled out of bed. Jeff instinctively grabs onto Ashley's arm to try and pull her back into bed, and that's when he realizes he's in a tug-of-war with something he can't see. Ashley, absolutely traumatized, looks to where this thing is grabbing her from. And that's when she saw it. She saw what Ethan had been absolutely terrified of for the past 3 nights. The only way that Ashley can describe it is that it looked like the devil itself. After a few minutes of tug-of-war between this devilish figure and her husband, it finally let go. The following morning, Ashley performed a ritual that she had been taught since she was little. Ashley was raised Druid pagan, so she performed a Druid pagan ritual. Nothing ever happened in that house since the ritual. Shortly after this experience, Ashley would search on Facebook for the psychic that gave her the reading. She ended up getting in contact with her, where this psychic helped her get in tune with her capabilities. To this day, the psychic and Ashley remain very close friends. If you enjoyed today's recording, please leave a like or a comment. It's super rewarding. Wishing you nothing but a beautiful, blissful day. See you all after the holidays. Bye-bye.